Great. And we're off.
Okay. All right. So,
Hello, and welcome to the Mental Funny Bone, Becoming the Gaster Girls. I'm Christine.
and I'm Sarah. A big part of this podcast is discussing mental health. But please know that we are by no means licensed mental health professionals. We will simply be offering our perspectives based on personal experiences and encourage listeners to seek professional help when needed.
That's good. That's good. How are you? How are you feeling? I feel like we spent a lot of time together this weekend.
We really did. We really did. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. So, to catch the rest of you guys up, we went to Raleigh to pick Olivia up from college. So, when we got there on Thursday, she still had 1,000 finals to take, and she still had to pack up all of her stuff. So, Sarah and
Yeah.
I worked on Thursday, and then we went out to dinner with my friend slash colleague, Lucas, and
Lucas.
said in the most Empire Records way I could possibly say Lucas. We met his husband, Nathan, and their baby, Grayson, who was an actual baby.
Baby, cute little cheeks. And when you fed him the hummus, he made the cute little face.
This kid, this baby ate more than I did at dinner. He had like
He
9
did.
pounds of teeny little baby spoons worth of beetroot hummus. He loved
Ooh,
it.
and he loved it. He was digging the hummus.
All right, what are we going to talk about today? Also, we did manage to get Olivia's entire dorm room packed up into a 5x5x8 storage unit and a Honda Civic. So I feel we did great. And inside the Honda Civic, we still had room for 3 grown-up people.
We did amazing. Olivia did amazing for traveling for such a long way in a crunched position. I was looking at it last night and I think that we drove the last part. I feel we drove at least 5 hours straight.
I feel like we did too. We were just done and wanted to be home. Nobody
Yeah,
peed.
because I took a picture of the map, the little map thing on the car that said how many hours we had left and sent it to Noah before we left Sheets. And that was the last place we stopped, right? When we got right off 95, that was the last stop
Yeah.
we made.
Yes.
And it said there it was 5.5 hours.
It's pretty good.
I was, wow, I was really impressed. And nobody complained about having to pee or nothing upsetting happened. So I thought that was pretty amazing. And we also discovered why old people do not drive Honda Civics cross country.
Right, because your hips hurt. FYI,
Yeah.
guys. Your hips
Yeah.
hurt.
It's
I mean, I wasn't
it's not a
even
good
driving.
position. Yeah. Yeah, it was no good.
All right.
Okay.
So
Are
we
we going to
should
tell the
also-
story about the storage unit? About the elevator?
I blocked it out.
I did
So,
not. I did
You
not.
go ahead. Oh my God.
Okay. So I
have
feel leading up to
PTSD.
this, you have to understand that Olivia had nothing packed, zero. There's nothing packed, which I wanted to really be mad at, but I am pretty sure every time I moved from the time I was 18 till, I don't know, mid to late 20s, I never packed a thing myself until the day of moving. So I couldn't really be all that mad. But there's the 3 of us in a very small, confined space, packing, trying to figure out what's being packed where. I get a little crazy about the methods of packing. So there were a few times I had to shoo people away. So that's all leading
Somebody-
up to this.
Somebody on this podcast thinks she's an expert packer.
Well, when you've moved as many times as I have, I can confidently say I'm an expert packer. It's like a puzzle.
We can put this. No, we can't. Okay. I believe
Oh,
it.
that was me. That was me. Yeah, yeah. This can go. No, get that out of here. Shoot. Psh, psh. Yeah. Yeah, I'm very. That's how I
I
pack.
mean,
It's
thank
how
God.
I work.
I mean, thank God somebody took charge because
If it weren't for that, you would have at least 17 extra boxes to fit into the car or into storage.
right,
I'm just saying.
right. We would have had to leave some stuff on the side of the road, I think.
I'm fairly certain that Olivia would still be in the storage unit.
I mean,
So
I'm not.
anyway, upon
Sorry,
one
go
of our
ahead.
trips, upon one of our trips to the storage unit, we get everything on the big dolly and we have a fan, a tall skinny fan, and it has a very long cord. And even though we're pretty smart people, neither of us thought to wrap the cord around something and secure it somewhere. We just let the cord hang out. So we get into the elevator, and as you can imagine, we're both sweating, breathing heavy. It's really rough so far. And I am in the back of the elevator behind the dolly. My sister is up front of the elevator holding the fan by the buttons of the elevator. And all of a sudden, she turns around to me with the most frightened look on her face. And all she can say is, "Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no." And as she's saying this, I can see the fan in her arm moving, and she's moving with it. And then I connect the fact that, the cord of the fan was on the outside of the elevator when the elevator door closed, and now we are climbing. So I can't, there's things going through my brain. Let it go. Because all I can think of is her being sucked down into the elevator shaft because she's holding the fan. I know that's not realistic, but this is all I can think. Do you think I can say let go? No, because I don't know what to do. What does she do? She presses all of the buttons on the elevator thing at one time while yelling, "Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no." The elevator comes
Calm,
to a halt.
calm under pressure.
Right. Yeah. So the elevator broke. We were inside of it. She hits the button that calls the emergency folks while I am still in the back of the elevator, unable to speak.
Actively having a panic attack.
Yeah. Yeah. So we hit the emergency call button, and what happens? It rings. It's actually calling someone. I didn't even expect that much to happen. But then it's ringing, and it goes to voicemail. Stuck in an elevator, and it goes to voicemail. "Hi, we're not home right now. Leave us a message. We'll call you back." What do you even say? "Hi, I'm stuck in the elevator."
Hi, when you
And
guys get a chance, if maybe someone
can,
could come and rescue us.
can you call me back at stuck in the fucking elevator? What?
Add elevator, add storage unit, please. So
So
funny.
yeah, so that's it. We did eventually get out. It started moving again, and we called the emergency number again. But didn't we? I lose track here.
Well, actually, when we thought it was a voicemail, it was just being transferred to the right person.
Oh, okay.
So then she was talking, and I was, it's moving, it's moving. I don't have to worry about killing my sister in an elevator.
You wouldn't have had to. I would have done it myself. I was,
Right.
yeah,
I
starting to
didn't,
sweat, checking my pockets for my phone that was in the car.
sure, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Then we get there, and the the cord just broke. Just snapped.
Just ripped right off.
Not from where it connects to the thing. It just snapped from one point. It was the middle of the cord that just snapped.
I don't know. I'm not questioning it because if it wouldn't, we would still be stuck in that elevator.
True, true. All I can imagine was that cord was stuck somewhere in the gears of the elevator, and you were making me get back in it to go back downstairs.
You did great though. How are you going to get back downstairs? You can't live in the storage unit. It's a
I think there
metaphor
was
for life.
probably actual steps somewhere. I think it's a fire hazard to not actually have stairs.
Yeah, it's more, think of it as a metaphor for life. You can't live in the storage unit. You have to get in the elevator and go back downstairs.
Whatever. You know
Right.
what? You know where the fan is now? It's still in the storage unit, so they'll get to
Just in
unpack
case.
that. Hopefully I'm with you guys and not David.
And we'll laugh and laugh.
So that was our traumatizing event over the weekend.
But I do want to talk about all the wholesomeness that happened while we were waiting around for Olivia. So I introduced my sister to a show called Somebody Feed Phil.
Oh my gosh, I just got the chills because Somebody Feed Phil is the best thing since Ted Lasso.
Right, right. and they both came out at around the same time, or I discovered them both around the same time.
Well, get on the Netflix and watch Somebody Feed Phil because it is so good for your heart. Your heart will grow 1,000 times. And I describe it the same way that I described watching Ted Lasso. I start the episode like this, which is a big smile because you guys can't see me. And I end the episode this with a bigger smile, with kind of a little tear in my eye, but the best kind of tear that you could have in your eye because you just feel so awesome about everything that Phil just talked about. And it's amazing. So Phil is who's Phil? He's the
his
Everybody Loves Raymond.
Right, Phil Rosenthal. So he was the guy. He did something producing, directing. I don't know. He did something with the Everybody Loves Raymond. And he knows a lot of comedians. And this was his project with his brother, Richard.
Richard.
So it's adorable to watch them interact. So the premise is they make Phil go to these different countries and they make him eat foods, but he's always so excited, and there's someone who takes him around and feeds him local foods, and he does a little dance, and he's very happy to meet everybody. And if you put him in a room alone, he's just going to introduce himself to like 18 of the locals, even though he doesn't speak the same language. And then every episode they call their mom and dad, and Helen and Max are just freaking adorable. If I was depressed during the pandemic, and I will remind our audience that my child had just been released from inpatient psychiatric care with no follow-up care and put in my house to stay with me with no school or friends. As I was dealing with that, I am at a point right now where I need to watch an episode of Somebody Feed Phil. So I would like to thank Phil Rosenthal for helping me substitute in for actual psychiatric care during the pandemic.
Phil, he's a lifesaver. He
He
really
really
is a
is.
lifesaver. I was a little too busy today, so I didn't get to email him. But I do plan on emailing him because his parents have passed. And they do now on the show. He calls a comedian friend every episode and has them tell a joke for Max, which I think is absolutely lovely and makes my heart. But I would like to email Phil and offer up our parents to take up a little segment because I do believe that they would do a great job at that. And I would also like to invite us to eat with Phil.
I would like to feed Phil.
Preferably not something with a runny egg, not something with insects, maybe not, I don't
Oyster.
know.
No oyster.
Yeah,
No
there's
salmon.
no oysters, no slimy shit, no Sam. Let's just go get tacos.
Do you have any chicken tacos?
Right. Do you have chicken fingers? But also, speaking of email, I also wanted to mention shout out to my friend Shauna, who after last episode, I begged everyone to send us an email, and she's the only one that listened. So I love you, Shauna, and I love the fact that you will rescue me when I am naked in a field. And my sister was very appreciative of your mentioning of not being able to make adult friends as easily as. So yeah, she will definitely, when offered a beer in Chuck E. Cheese, even if she doesn't like the beer, she will take it.
That makes Shauna good people. Also, I feel compelled to say a quick thank you to Mike and Yvonne. So big thanks to Mike and Yvonne for
Absolutely.
letting us hang out in their dining room until our Airbnb was ready. They are second cousins once removed. Yvonne is our second cousin once removed. I looked it up.
Did you?
I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just
have
say cousin.
a lot of free time. Technically, second cousin once removed. And her husband is Mike, and they are both just awesome people. They let us drink coffee. They both
Lots
left
of
and
it.
let us work in peace. And
Yeah.
we're super gracious and love you guys. That's kissing
Thank
noises.
you. Thank you.
Nope, that's fish noises, and no one can hear them. It's a podcast. Again. I also wanted in our catch-up corner to talk about how you called me the other day. If you want to get that
Yes.
story started, I've written down some thoughts.
Okay, so every morning when I'm working in the morning from 7 to 9, I listen to Good Morning America. Mostly, I just love the people on there, and it's good to keep up on some current events and whatnot. And so every day I hear about the Israel, and I
Palestine.
don't. That's it. Yeah. And I don't know a lot about what's gone on there. I mean, I know what's gone on there recently. I know the basics.
So so it was nice. We got to have a little history lesson, and so I don't know very much, and it, it seems to me it's hard to organize any kind of argument for either side on an issue that's so deeply contested and deeply a part of the makeup of the two groups. And what it got me thinking about was how do you organize your thoughts around that? I don't have very deeply held beliefs around either Palestine or Israel. And to be frank, I didn't know very much about the history of it. So I'm going to do my best to kind of do a little bit of research, read a couple of books, and
Research.
research and kind of understand it a little bit better. But while Sarah and I were talking, so underneath all of the political bullshit that's happening with Biden and Israel's leadership, there are these two groups of people who are losing their friends and losing their relatives and having their fundamental self identities questioned. And that's I'm not for that in any way, for sure. Um, in what I started thinking about was that calls to action take various forms, and who am I to judge the way that people are called to action in response to that kind of trauma? So, if this is an issue that resonates really deeply with people, who am I to question whether or not having a protest on a campus is the way to spur some kind of political change? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I came to was maybe this is a place to be guided by the things that you hold the most dear. So when we're talking about values and ways to organize yourself, what what are your values? So fundamentally, do you have a deeply held belief that violence in any form is an affront? So do you think that both sides are incorrect because of the amount of violence that's happened? And if you do, then you'll be guided to act a specific way. But do you believe that a deeply held belief would be that the end justifies the means? So if this is a group that has continually attacked your particular group and tried to eradicate it, that in this case is justified. I mean, these are kind of things that I was thinking about as I was thinking about the issue. Do you believe that peaceful protests include interfering with other people's daily activities? And do peaceful protests get protected, but only when I like the issue? So is it okay for people to protest about stuff I like, but not about stuff that I don't like or don't believe in? Like, how do you judge? And then how do you judge what's peaceful? Is it peaceful to graffiti up and tear down a dorm? Is it peaceful to sit in front of a place where I need to get into? But those are kind of the things that it's hard to get into or out of a 4 minute news story, right? These are deeply held beliefs by these specific groups of people, and I think when you try to condense it down into a news story on Good Morning America and then try to make sense of it from there, that maybe is not the way to come to peace with it, to come to terms with what's happening there. Maybe it's about self-reflection and looking at how do I think about it. Anyway, for me this can be all academic. No one's bugging me at a protest. No one's bothering me. So this is all kind of academic. But for people who are protesting, this is what they're called to do, I would suppose. Some of them, and then other ones are just, yeah, let's have a riot. That's fun. Let's
Let's get out of
We're
finals and fuck
hippies.
shit up. But I get
Yeah.
what you're saying, and it all makes sense, and it was very enlightening, and more so from the perspective that you're talking about, because I think that I wanted to talk to you and I wanted you to explain these things to me so I could make a decision on what I should believe.
And
And
I think
after
that's the
talking to you, there's no way for me to do that. I can't.
yep. I'm tapping my nose. Yeah, I mean,
Bingo.
we can't we can't make a decision about what's right or what's wrong for two groups of people that have been fighting each other for decades,
That I'm
hundreds
very,
of
very far removed from.
right. Are these protesters right or wrong? These protesters are doing what they think is right, but I think at the end of it all, it's watching human suffering is universally abhorrent. I don't think there's anyone there. I'm not going to say anyone. There's a small, horribly damaged segment of people who just kind of dig watching human suffering. But
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it's about finding a way to move forward. How do you get protesters and university officials together? And I don't think it's I don't think it's heavy handed. I think it's, why don't you guys come on inside? Why don't you come in here and tell me what you really want the administration to think about or talk about? And I'll tell you why we have to have you get off the lawn, because there's people who have been here for 6 years working very, very hard to get a degree, and you're screwing up stuff for them. So let's get together. Let's talk about finding a path forward. And I do realize that there's a
Yeah.
lot of that that's rosy.
We've also been conditioned over the last several years, I think, to just fight about everything.
Right. When you say I wanted to know which side is right and which side is wrong, like I don't know if there is a right and wrong. There are two groups of people that are doing some bad stuff to each other, and the most brilliant minds on the planet are finding it hard to move forward and away from that, and it's tragic. And I think that is the wrong part of it, is it's just tragic.
Amen.
Nice. Nice. All right, what are we talking about next? Talking about the Willie Nelson concert that we weren't there for, and then the Jimmy Buffett concert.
Yes. Yes. I vaguely remember Jimmy Buffett being there.
I remember him. He was definitely there. So kind of gets right to our growing up Gaster story of the week. So 2 years ago,
Buffett's last trip to the area was in 2022. So, yes, we took Daddy to the last Jimmy Buffett concert in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We
yes, we
win.
did. Yes, and it was my birthday.
Yay. And it was Daddy's birthday. Well, it was actually your birthday the day of, right?
It was my actual birthday because I had a sash and a crown on.
You
And
did.
I have
You did.
pictures of me with a guy dressed like a flamingo.
I was going to say a pelican, but but that was definitely wrong.
Nope. Nope. And here's where things started to go wrong. We were in the parking lot, and Sarah brought a couple of friends. I had a couple of friends, and we had our dad. And Jumbo's 77, so not a spring chicken, but also not his first time out of the house ever. And Jumbo is a classic Jimmy Buffett fan. I remember listening to Jimmy Buffett when I was in high school. I remember, coming back home after being in Arizona and having Jimmy Buffett playing on the radio in the springtime. Around this time every year, when it started to get warm, Jumbo would break out the Jimmy Buffett. We'd open up all the windows in the sun porch in our house in Elizabeth, the one where we had the bat,
Yeah.
and we would shoot pool and listen to Jimmy Buffett cassette tapes on that
Yes.
tricked out stereo we had.
Yeah, that we ordered from the Home Shopping Network.
Pretty sure that's exactly where we got it.
It came in a big box, and I was excited to play with that box when we got it delivered.
You're so young. Adorable. So anyway, Jimmy Buffett gets woven into the fabric of growing up Gaster. So You come up with the idea, I think, that we're going to take Jumbo to the concert. And you've got a little group of friends. I've got a couple of friends. And genius idea. We're gonna go tailgate just for a little bit. Just for a little bit. We don't want to
We
tailgate all
can't
day.
be, yeah, I mean, based on our previous experiences, we're growing up, we're learning. We can't do all day things. It just doesn't work. We, as gasters, myself and my father, do not have any control when it comes to drinking. And us saying, no thanks, I'm good, doesn't really exist. So we have to just limit the amount of time that we are exposed to the alcohol.
Right. Right. So smart thing, we'll just go maybe an hour, 2 hours before the concert
Yeah.
starts. We'll still bring the chairs, we'll still bring the cooler. We had two designated drivers with us because we took Olivia and her then boyfriend. So we had two vehicles, two designated drivers, so no one felt a lot of pressure to be the one that said no, I'm good on the alcohol. And then I remember sitting in the parking lot listening to Jimmy Buffett, and I was no, I think I'm good on the beer. I was the gaster who will say no, I think I'm good on the beer. And
Yeah.
somebody said, the voice of reason said, hey, the beers are free out here. They're going to be
Mm-hmm.
$20 when you
Yeah.
get inside. And I was like,
Yep.
you're right. So we should stock up out here and drink more out here. And then when we get inside, we won't drink at all.
Right. Of course we won't. Mm-hmm.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
fast forward to concert time. Everyone is feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. It's my birthday. So we head on into the concert. I see the guy dressed the flamingo, automatically drawn to him. Get a picture with him. And I didn't realize when we bought the tickets, Sarah kept talking about, oh, we're on the deck. We're on the deck. We're on the deck. So it's
It's
this
how
new, like,
old people do the pavilion.
so Sarah gets us the seats on the deck. And the deck is just this tiny wooden structure in the corner of the lawn, right in the front where the pavilion part and the lawn part are separated. And it is gorgeous. It's got its own bar. It's 2 feet from the bathroom. And so when Jumbo has to go to the bathroom, we can send Dominic with him to help, I guess.
Make sure he doesn't get sidetracked and lost.
I think mostly that. Can you just make sure he comes back? You don't have to just don't let him talk to strangers. It's taking a toddler places. Can't let you out of our sight. So I get to the deck and I'm okay. I'm going to post up in front of the deck because the deck still has a front and a back, even though it's got little bar seats. No, we're taking the front. So I've shoulder to shoulder taken over the front part of this bar. Sarah's great. I'm going to go get drinks. I was no, we're not drinking anymore.
Right. Hmm. Yeah.
She was like, no, it's okay. I have a credit card. Comes back. There's these gallon bowls full of booze. So now we've got those. Anyway, it was very touching. I don't know. There are times in the concert where they're playing Jumbo's favorite song and he's my girls and he's got his arms around both of us and all three of us are crying. Maggie's taking pictures.
Pictures, great pictures.
It was awesome to have that be my last Jimmy Buffett concert. It
I
was
might cry.
amazing. No, there's no crying because Jumbo loved it. He was
In the
living
best
his
way.
best
Yeah.
life. I
Yeah.
mean, he was the most Jumbo I've seen Jumbo in quite some time. So he's feeling good. He's all tuned up. He's singing. He's doing a little dancing. He's hugging his my girls, my girls. I mean, you can't beat that with a stick. And
Nope.
the best thing is we get out of the concert. We have the two designated drivers.
Designated drivers.
Designated drivers. We managed to get through the parking lot scene, not without its own trauma.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Get everybody into the cars. It smells
There was some throwing up. There was a little bit of
maybe like
throwing up.
vomit, and the sober people are driving the drunk people, and it's nice because there's a DUI checkpoint between the concert and Sarah's house. So The children who have just gotten their licenses get pulled over. And we've separated into two different cars. I have, Olivia is driving a different car, and I have her driver's license with me. So the
Yeah, she was driving
policeman
my car.
with the, I think fair to say, the more drunk people.
Well, 100%. We were definitely the drunk ride.
So the policeman asks Olivia for her ID, and of course she doesn't have it, and I can't get it to her because we're also being talked to at the DUI checkpoint. Anyway, so the nice thing is that the sober kids got through the DUI checkpoint.
I think having the drunker car worked in our favor because I think I maybe was trying to say something from the back to the police officer. Aaron was in the front being, just shut up, just shut up. Jess and Heather were kind of passed out on each other. Jess may have been moving a little bit, but I feel the officer looked in and was, I don't care how old you are or if you have a license, as long as you're taking them somewhere that isn't right here.
As long as none of them are driving.
Yeah. He's all right. Good call. You're 12. Great. Keep on moving. He actually
But
said, you're new, aren't you?
no, he didn't.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. She was,
She's like,
well, 6 months. And he's, yeah, you're new. Go ahead.
so cute. So cute. So I think that whole evening couldn't have played out better. And we get to have that memory forever.
Forever.
And it is one that I will treasure.
Fuck you.
I say it right, treasure.
It's treasure. If anybody wants to
Treasure.
write in. Okay. gastergirls@gmail.com. How do you pronounce treasure?
All right, let's move on. We have
Okay.
mental health stuff to get to.
Oh, fun.
So, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I can't remember if we talked about it last week or if I even knew last week. Like,
I feel
it's
like
hard
it
to
maybe
keep track.
was mentioned, but maybe, I don't know. Let's go with no, we didn't mention it.
Let's mention it now. So,
Okay.
Mental Health Awareness Month. Just a couple of thoughts that I was thinking about Mental Health Awareness Month. Sometimes it's important to just sit with someone in their unhappiness. And I see you nodding your head. Yes, sometimes, because I think what happens, and a lot of the reason that we shy away from talking about mental health and mental health challenges a lot is because people don't know what to say. Like, oh yeah, I'm having a bout of depression right now, and then everyone is, I don't know what to
What?
tell you. I can't fix it. And I think one of the important things to remember when faced with that situation is no one is expecting you to fix their mental health issues. What
Right.
I'm kind of expecting, and you can tell me if this is incorrect, is not a, oh well, here's a BuzzFeed list of 15 things that you can tell me when I'm depressed. What I want you to know is that I'm going through something and it's painful, and even though you can't see it, it's something that I'm dealing with. I don't need you to fix it. What I really need you to do is, just be there and say, well, I'm really sorry that that's happening to you. And sometimes that's enough. I mean, for me,
Yeah.
that's always enough. I'm sorry that you're going through that. And then I will fuss around and be awkward about it for you.
I think no matter how much you say that to yourself, you're always going to be it's human nature. We want to fix everything,
Right.
but we can't. We can't. We can make people laugh and we can listen to them. And those are the two best things that you do for me when I go through my funks.
Right.
And I think those are the two most important things to me. And the fact that you don't make me feel an asshole when I call you crying. And you
Right.
don't try to tell me how you fix yourself. And you don't try to tell me how I need to fix myself. Sometimes you will say, you're being a fucking idiot. Let's slow down. My favorite story is you just telling me to fight every time. And that made such a huge difference in my outlook on a lot of things. And it's something that has always stuck with me. And I think it was one of the most important things that you ever said to me. Yeah. And just sometimes sharing our own stories helps people. And that's what we do here.
It's nice.
But I think it's just really important to know that just listening, even if it's just listening to someone cry,
Right.
that can be a huge difference and make a huge difference. And we don't have to feel awkward about things because we don't need you to fix them. We just need you to be there. Right. Very good,
All right,
valid points.
that's what I got on maybe mental health awareness. Don't shy away from people who want to share this with you also, because it means that they trust you enough to bring you to this horrible crappy place that they're in, and it is essentially just a reflection of their of wanting you to understand them more as a person. I think you had one on our little mental health awareness corner,
Yes.
to finding mental health help when you're financially struggling.
Yeah, I think it's something that we should always keep in mind. A friend of mine, actually a work colleague, had sent me a message and asked how to find a therapist or how to choose a therapist. I mean, my advice was, if you're comfortable, talk to other people and find out who their therapist is. My therapist, my doctor I go to, I found through a friend. Just a friend who's always been open about her struggles. And so I reached out to her, and she suggested I go to this practice, and I've been there for 10 years. Prior to that, I went on the insurance website and found out who was covered. Led us into a conversation about how expensive it is. Even with insurance, I actually do not go to therapy as often as I should because of the cost, which is sad. And I make decent money. We make decent money. But
I mean,
that's just the reality of it, is that it's something that's expensive. And I think we talked about it once. It wasn't on the podcast. It may have been in one of our early recordings that we didn't go through with. But we talked about the cost of just self-care in general. Taking the time out to go
right.
get a massage, taking the time out to, I don't know, go to yoga class. Everything costs money. It's all going to cost money to feel a little bit better, and all of these self-care things. But anyway, so that got me to thinking about how we can help people find the help that they need when they are financially struggling. So I found a few different websites. I'd love to say that I will link them in the show notes, but that might not happen, even though I'm getting the finger here that says that it will.
Not this one, not the middle finger. The hold on a second, I have something to
The
say
hold up
podcasting
finger.
finger. I just put a link in our planner for Psychology Today, has a list of therapists in the United States, and it covers background. It's a place where I went to find Olivia her first therapist, and a place that I go back to all the time if I feel maybe we needed change. In addition to the insurance website, which sometimes I find really confusing. As a benefit of having 7 jobs in the last 6 years, I have had the opportunity to work with the Aetna website, which was easy and great, being able to navigate finding a therapist for Olivia, not for myself, for Olivia. And then
Right. Mm-hmm.
the United Healthcare website, not as helpful. So it's a struggle. Psychology Today has a fantastic list, and I found it, even if your insurance website is hard to navigate, the Psychology Today website will give you a list of people, and then you can cross-reference with your insurance. That's always
And
a
they
good way to go about
also,
it.
there on one of my lists here that I'm looking at, Psychology Today, they also have an extensive list of therapists and treatment facilities throughout the US that offer a sliding scale payment options.
Yes. And
So
I was also going to mention that when Olivia first came out, the therapist that she really clicked with,
when you said
again,
when Olivia first came out, I imagined when she came out as a
no,
baby.
she didn't come out as a baby or out of the closet. When she came out of inpatient, And we had to find her first therapist. I think she really clicked with the second one we found. And, because we were switching insurances, other people change underwear, we got to a point where she was, hey, this one isn't covered. I'm all right. Well, because it's so hard to find another one, I'll just pay you out of pocket. And they had sort of a sliding scale too on, it's always an option to pay for a therapist that you really click with out of pocket. And the hope is that they work with you on finding an affordable payment that you can make and still take care of the shit you need to take care of.
Absolutely. A couple of the things that I just want to mention, and there were some statistics. I just like the word and numbers. So I'm going to read through a
Yes.
few of these because I thought they were kind of interesting. In 2020, 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illness. By the year 2030, companies globally are expected to lose a total of $16 trillion due to lost productivity resulting from mental health disorders. Out of pocket costs for therapy sessions have caused 1/3 of Americans to cancel their appointments. Ding, ding. While 39% have cut down on the number of therapy sessions to save money. Ding, ding. The economic cost of depression of U.S. adults totaled $326.2 billion in 2018. That was a 38% increase since 2010. And lastly, suicide is the 12th leading cause of death in U.S. each year. An astonishing 90% of those who died by suicide had showed signs of mental health conditions.
Yeah. I mean,
which is shitty.
it is.
So the website I'm looking at now, and this is just one of them, there are several of them. If you're in a situation where you're worried about the cost of mental health assistance, you can just go onto Google and type that in, how to get mental health help when you're struggling financially. And there are a bunch of different websites that give you several different options. This one that I'm looking at, I believe they listed 7 different things. So the government assistance for mental health, there are a few different links here with community health centers and mentalhealth.gov that you can look into for options in your area. There are nonprofits that offer mental health resources. The American Psychoanalytic Association is one to check out. Mental Health America is another one. What else? One I already touched upon is reaching out to therapists regarding sliding scale payments or sliding scale options. There are a list here that includes Psychology Today of different websites that you can go on to find a decent number of therapists that do offer sliding scale options. Then also, this is something that you and I touched upon this weekend very quickly, university mental health services. So local universities, of course, if you are a student at a university, most likely they have mental health resources for you on campus. If they don't, let me know what school you go to because I would just like to know. Okay, and something that is starting to become more prevalent, I believe, is low-cost online therapy. I'm not talking like my sister went on Facebook and tried to talk to Dr. Scrubs. There are definitely reputable places that you can go online to get therapy for lower costs. And then another one that's kind of new are smartphone apps. There are several different apps that can help you work through, what's the one? Calm. I see Calm all the time. It has a lot of meditation stuff on it. There's one called Happify, Mind Doctor, We Are More. These are just a few of them that are listed here. But there's a bunch of different apps that can help you. They may not be actual therapy, some of these, but they will help you develop ways to cope that are healthy. And I think that's something that's overlooked too. You have a ton of different options, but don't ever not seek help because you think you can't financially afford it. You can't afford not to seek help. And there's ways that you can find help. And if for some reason you have trouble with the Googles, but you can still emails, shoot us an email and we will help you find the help that you need.
We will definitely send you a bunch of links that you can look at. One more thing, one more resource
Mm-hmm.
when, especially if you're, struggling financially, but you have health insurance. You can go to your employee assistance programs, and even if your place of employment doesn't offer health insurance, they often have an EAP program. So we don't get our health insurance from David's work, but they do have an EAP program, so an employee assistance program, and traditionally they refer, you know, employees who had substance abuse problems and were looking to not get fired. What I've seen over the past 12, 15 years is those EAP programs have expanded, and they are very helpful for finding you somebody to talk to or providing some sort of additional resource, whether that's additional resources, little videos you can watch online, or finding and offering to call and coordinate appointments depending on what kind of insurance and what kind of EAP program you have. And again, based on having had so many different benefits packages over the past 6 or so years, you usually get 3 to 6 sessions for little to no cost. So, what that can do is help you nail down the kind of help you think you need. So, you can talk to a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist can say, here are a couple of things you might want to explore. And then you can sort of build off your experience with those EAPs and kind of target and direct where you can go from there.
That's awesome. I didn't know about those. I do believe that companies are now starting to wake up and offer more mental health resources. I think we're all starting to make enough noise about it that we're not making shit up. We need help.
Right. I mean, especially looking back in 2020, so as we were going through the pandemic, part of how I found the resources that I found when we eventually got Olivia to the therapist was through the EAP program. And they were, try out 3 different ones. We'll make you 3 appointments right now, which, now that I've said that out loud, seems suspicious that I haven't attempted to use this for myself.
Hey, that's strange.
Right. Moving on. Moving on.
Moving on. I just got a
So,
notification that I need to pick up my groceries.
eh, um, all right. Well, let's look at what time it is. Yeah, we're probably getting into the nitty gritty of it anyway. Yeah, there are a whole host of places where you can get free, low cost, at least initially, mental health resources. And what I'm going to include in the show notes is all of the things you just said, plus the Washington County Human Services mental health resources page and the Allegheny County one. So even though Sarah and I live in the same state and the same city, we live in different counties. And what I found when trying to access different programs is that it's very county specific. So these programs are often funded by the county for county residents only, and it's one of the things that drives me absolutely bananas about these kinds of services. And I don't know if it's exclusive to mental health services, but when we were discharged from Western Psych, Olivia didn't have as many options because she wasn't an Allegheny County resident. So they were able to give the girl next to her a lot more information and a lot more options because she was from Allegheny County and Olivia was from Washington County. So it's it's an irritating hole slash gap that I think somebody should fill.
Right.
Again, I'm not going to be that great at doing it, but just be aware that, you know, look in your own
Looking around canny.
county with my best Pittsburgh accent. Amen.
I
All
love
right.
it.
I did want to talk a little bit about a recap of the subtle art, and I think we can go pretty quickly through. Well, why go pretty quickly? Your groceries will be there.
Yeah, I have till 6:30 to pick them up. It's 5 to 6.
All right. So the subtle art. I think it was. I wanted to take a look at kind of what we talked about. So we're on chapter 3. Um, So I thought I would sum up chapters 1, chapter 2, and then we can get into some stuff about chapter 3, if that's okay with you.
I think that's a great idea.
So chapter 1 of the book is Don't Try. So I think the distilled message from that is we are who we are. There, I think he starts out that chapter talking about Charles Bukowski, and he wasn't successful because he tried really hard to make himself a different person. He wasn't successful because he tried to be a good person. He was an
No, he was
asshole,
still an ass.
and he knew he was an asshole. But the trick to his being successful was just accepting it, writing about it, being honest about it, and having the approach that this is what I have to work with, so this is what I'll work with. And I think that, the best thing we can do for ourselves and for those people around us is just to acknowledge who we are and, find ways to work on the problems that we have when we're presented with them in a way that's true to who we are as people.
Nice recap on it.
Right. It kind of sums up. We don't all have to be rock stars. We don't all have to be the same. So when we're
We're
looking at
not all
traditional,
going. We're not going to be rock
right.
stars. We're not all going to be rock stars. It's just not the way it's going to be.
But we all also don't have to be miserable failures, and we just have to be the people that we are, and understanding that purpose and those values will help us make decisions and solve some of the problems that we're going to face. So chapter 2, happiness is a problem. Again, I think this goes back to happiness is an emotion, sadness is an emotion. Neither of these things is sustaining and long lasting enough to be a goal. Oh, I don't want to be
Emotions,
sad.
yeah, emotions are just part of it.
Right. Like,
They're
I
just
don't want
part
to
of
be
our
sad.
lives.
I want to be happy. Yeah, everybody wants to be happy. Everyone wants to be a rock star. Everyone would love to be Beyonce. I mean, but the trick is that the thing that gives us satisfaction in our lives is solving problems. It's not eliminating the problems. So that is the happiness is a problem chapter. And this second chapter is all about that kind of crazy backwards mind fuck that avoiding the negative is not going to help you out. Facing the challenges and solving those problems are what kind of move you up the ladder of having those better problems. Understanding who you are as a person and doing the hard work around that makes it easier for you to solve those problems. So that
Yep.
was chapter 2.
Chapter
Disappointment
2.
Panda makes an appearance and
Yay.
tells you
With
your
his
problems.
margarita.
Right, with this, for some reason, sombrero and margarita. Happy Cinco de Mayo yesterday, by the way.
Oh, yay. Thank you.
All right, so chapter 3 of the subtle art gets us to you're not special. So,
Which goes against everything that I believe.
I mean,
I
it's
know
a
I'm
hard one to
special.
swallow.
I know it's all about me.
Yeah. I mean, and it feels when someone points out that that's not true is when you grow.
100%. I still
So,
have a really hard time understanding why people don't just always agree with me.
right, right.
Yeah.
This is disappointment panda coming at you here.
Yep.
Hey, Sarah. It's okay
Hi,
when not everyone
Panda.
agrees with you.
Whatever.
And I think that, you know, he mentions entitlement, and a lot of this "you're not special" is about your feelings of entitlement. And feeling entitled is a complete block to being able to grow, to being able to get better, to being able to solve your problems. Because once you get into this sort of entitlement mindset, you kind of fall into one of two traps. I'm so special that the world needs to bend to me, which is wrong. You're not special. Thinking that you're super special should be your first clue that you need to look a little deeper at what you're doing. Being super talented also needs hard work to create success. And even if you are the most talented, most super special, little rock star or athlete, unless you work hard to improve on what Mother Nature gave you, you're not going to be satisfied. You're going to have skated by just on your talent, and it won't be as impactful or as, it won't feel as good if you're, oh, I'm fine. And then the second one is, I have problems no one can solve. The world
Woe
needs to
is me.
the world needs to bend to me because my problem is so special and so amazing. Yeah, you have problems. Everybody has problems. We'll go back to Jumbo's number one rule, and nobody cares about you.
Yeah.
Eh, the trick is that everybody has problems, and if you want to be stuck in this level of entitlement, um, then you you can avoid the problem by just saying, this is a unique problem that no one has ever faced before, and I will never get out of it. And I think it's obvious that that is a block to growing. Yeah, you're facing something that is completely terrible and completely shitty. Some of the best people on the planet have faced if not exactly the same, a very similar problem. The thing that's unique and special about you is that this problem needs to be solved by you. You don't get to you don't get to go around it. You don't get to sit in front of it. I mean, you can, but
You'll never
you'll
grow.
always
You'll
be
never.
stuck there.
Hmm.
You'll never move forward and be satisfied with something if you're stuck. Yeah, it's complicated. Life is hard. Look at your problem. Take your feedback from Disappointment Panda and be like, yeah, this thing is terrible. This thing is hard. Get to work. Either way, the message is get to work. Enjoy your visit from Disappointment Panda. Thank him for pointing out that you have an issue and get to work on it. It isn't, you're not so spectacularly blessed that you get to avoid the work, and you are not so spectacularly cursed that you get to avoid the work. Welcome. Welcome to working hard and solving a problem and feeling satisfied and moving forward.
Right. I'm sorry, I was just looking for it in the book about what was the title of this section? The exceptionalism. The tyranny of exceptionalism. And where does he say it? Basically, what he says is, I mean, we can't all be exceptional. It's just not the way it works.
By
It doesn't make
definition.
sense. Yeah. I can't find the exact quote, but extremes of the bell curve of human experience. Our lives today are filled with information from extremes of the bell curve of human experience because in the media business, that's what gets eyeballs, and eyeballs bring dollars. That's the bottom line. Yet the vast majority of life resides in the humdrum middle. The vast majority of life is unextraordinary and indeed quite average.
Right. Like, yeah, you're not special. And I think a great point he makes towards the end of this chapter is that it it doesn't need to be. Your life doesn't need to be exceptional to
Mm-hmm.
be satisfactory. You don't need to have, cured a bunch of orphans of cancer or, gone across the world and discovered a new drug. What you need to do is take care of the things that are important to you. The simple and the mundane in our lives is often the best experience that we have. So I'll tell a quick story. So when my favorite memory with David didn't happen on my extraordinary trip to Alaska. I mean, don't get me wrong, that was amazing. Lovely, lovely time. I was in a helicopter, for God's sake. But one of the best moments that David and I have shared as a couple is sitting on a quad in the middle of nowhere in our little podunk town in a snowstorm and talking about how amazing this is for me and how this is kind of changing my perspective on what's important. So it wasn't this earth-shattering Instagram moment. It was riding around in his backyard essentially while
Right.
I was deciding whether or not I was going to move back to Pennsylvania. It happened at a a pretty important point in time, but it was essentially the most boring, mundane thing that we've done 800 times since, and we had done 40 times before, and we're going to do 800 times from this point forward. It wasn't remarkable
Sounds
or
cold.
expensive. It was cold because also I was living in Arizona, so I had on a big
Right.
hat with flappy ears, and I had on mittens, and yeah, I mean, life is full of those moments, right? So if we come back to somebody feed Phil, good food and good friends and family are often the places that we find contentment. It's
Right.
not in the moments that we Instagram all over the place. It's eating
It's
delicious
not in the
barbecue and
Facebook. Damn it.
right. It's not in the
Damn
Facebook. It's
it.
not in the Instagram. It's in living these little moments that pop up and happen. And
It's
sometimes they're
in
extraordinary.
it's in moving your niece all weekend
Right.
and being able to spend that time with your sister and your niece and going to eat some of the best barbecue you've ever
My
had.
God, right? Yes. Yes. Good food, good friends, family. Those are the
Right.
places that you can often find that contentment. And it doesn't have to do with anything to do with being the smartest, the prettiest, any of the ists. It has to do with
Yes.
finding the things that you really value. And if you're enjoying those things that you really value, then I think you're pretty much winning.
Yeah, you win. If you don't mind, I'm going to read a whole
I don't mind.
page.
I don't mind
It's
at all.
actually, okay, good. It's actually the last page of the chapter. And I think it
Oh,
does
nice.
I'm reading it directly from the book because he has this knack of putting it. I'm just going to read it. Okay. All of this, every person can be extraordinary and achieve greatness stuff, is basically just jerking off your ego. It's a message that tastes good going down, but in reality is nothing more than empty calories that make you emotionally fat and bloated. The proverbial Big Mac for your heart and your brain. I love a Big Mac, by the way. The ticket to emotional health, that to physical health, comes from eating your veggies. That is accepting the bland and mundane truths of life. Truths such as your actions actually don't matter that much in the grand scheme of things, and the vast majority of your life will be boring and not noteworthy, and that's okay. This vegetable course will taste bad at first, very bad. You will avoid accepting it. But once ingested, your body will wake up feeling more potent and more alive. After all, that constant pressure to be something amazing, to be the big next thing, will be lifted off your back. The stress and anxiety of always feeling inadequate and constantly needing to prove yourself will dissipate. And the knowledge and acceptance of your own mundane existence will actually free you to accomplish what you truly wish to accomplish without judgment or lofty expectations. You will have a growing appreciation for life's basic experiences, the pleasures of simple friendship, creating something, helping a person in need, reading a good book, laughing with someone you care about. Sounds boring, doesn't it? That's because these things are ordinary, but maybe they're ordinary for a reason, because they are actually what matters.
Precisely. Yes, that is exactly the part I was talking about.
Yeah, I
100%.
mean, sounds boring, but when you really think of it, that's the meat of it, and that's the good stuff.
Right. And what I was trying to think of this week is what's the action I can take? What's the action that's going to sort of emphasize that point, drive it home and make it a part of my life? And the only thing I came up with was recognizing those moments when they happen, right?
They're hard to
Understanding that
recognize.
understanding that eating barbecue is fantastic. Doing it with someone who just helped you with a monumental task is even better. Like being able to take a step back and understanding that yeah, I'm doing important work, and yeah, I don't have to be the senior vice president for everything that is amazing and good at my company to do important work. I'm doing important work. And kind of looking at things with sort of a simpler lens and
That's what
understand.
it just when I said it's tough, it's hard. It's hard when you're not looking at it the right way, when you're doing
Right.
exactly that and wanting to be more and wanting to have more and wanting to be exceptional and trying to figure out how you can be exceptional and all of that. That's what gets in the way. Once you're able to clear all that, it's just, I mean, it's just a diet. At first, you feel real shitty. But once everything processes, all that bad shit finally gets out of your body and the veggies start absorbing into your body, the way that you feel is 100% better. And
Yeah.
it's the same with the mental health. We are essentially in our own way all the time.
Yes. Yes. And I think it's also kind of important to think about recognizing that yeah, I have a mental health struggle that I have to work with. You have a mental health struggle that you have to work with. Right, that's a problem that needs to be solved. The way to move forward and through it is to A, recognize it, have disappointment panda come along and be like, you know why you're having trouble getting shit done at work is probably because your brain is messed up a bit. Why don't you try working on that? Recognizing that and being able to then put in the work, not hiding from it and being, oh well, my ADD brain is so special and so different. We'll never be able to get through this particular struggle. The problems that this is presenting will never be able to be solved. Recognize that it's a problem and start working on it, even if
Right.
it's got a certain level of complexity that's hard to understand and hard to move through. You're not doing yourself any favors by going, I can't do it. My problem's too special. Or I'm the smartest one, and of course, everyone should just, bow before me. I'm the best one here in the department, and of course, everybody should just bow to me, and they're not, and that's why things aren't getting done. Both of those things are really dangerous. So I think, yeah, it kind of brings it back to that too, right?
Yep. I agree.
Nice. I'm glad.
I'm
Yeah, and
excited for
I
the
think
next chapter.
And I think if we can kind of look back and be okay, well those are the points that he's trying to make because he tells a lot of stories and sometimes I
Hmm.
get kind of lost in the stories. What are you telling me to do, dude? You're telling me to just be who I am, understand that I have limitations. Okay, that's chapter 1. Don't try to be something that I'm not. Don't pretend that I am something that I'm not. Number 2 is understanding that eh, there are problems and we shouldn't avoid them. And number 3 is I'm not special. I can't duck behind my problems in any of the two ways. Just have to get through it.
Right.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to chapter 4. I'm looking forward to distilling this stuff down into little nuggets I can then cohesively think about while all of the noise is happening in my brain.
Yay. What is
Also,
chapter 4? The value of suffering.
the value of suffering. Love it. Um, Also, I didn't mention the Monday Madness ADD thing that happened to me today.
Oh, yeah.
I was all in a Twitter yesterday because I remembered that I had a 7:30 appointment to get my car inspected today after moving Olivia all weekend and driving, I
It's
don't know,
great planning on your part.
145 hours.
Hmm.
So I show up, and the reason that I had the appointment today was because the car dealership had moved to its new location.
Oh, yay. And you went to the old location.
No, 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 no. I
Oh,
popped
no.
into the new
Okay.
location, first one here, first appointment at the new place, and I walked in, and everyone has this look on their face. They don't know what the hell's going on. And I have a 7:30 appointment to get my car inspected. The guy does that tapping thing on the computer, and
Yeah.
he's,
Like
"Oh,
he's,
oh, there, I found you. My appointment's on Wednesday,
yes.
not Monday."
That's my
But
absolute favorite.
on on the plus side, because they are so customer service oriented, he never mentioned it. I had it
Seriously?
I sat down, I opened up my laptop, I looked at my calendar for this week to kind of plan out, and sure enough, on Wednesday, it says car inspection. And I blocked 4 hours so I could sit there and just catch up on work. Never mentioned it. So shout out to
That's
Bobby Rahal. Thank you for letting me exist in my Thanks for having such good customer service that you wouldn't make me feel bad for turning up on the wrong day.
Man, my lame ass car dealership would have been like, yeah, we'll see you Wednesday. You spent a lot more for your car though.
They were, thanks, come on in. Here's the coffee.
God,
We
I'm
have
so
donuts.
jealous of that. That's
There were
awesome.
fresh flowers in the
Oh,
dealership.
F off.
Right, right.
Wow.
Everyone is wearing a crisply ironed white shirt. In fact, the one service guy had on a wrinkly shirt, and his boss came out and said, "Don't you own an iron?"
Ew.
He's, next time we just iron this part here. But I'm pretty sure it was that guy's son.
Fair enough. Okay. Okay, that's better. That's better.
This is how, and I'm wearing this. I have workout pants on.
Oh, you look beautiful. You look gorgeous.
I know.
Total
On the
gorge.
inside. Stop. All right. What are we doing next week? Chapter 4?
Chapter 4.
I think that's a good plan. And we'll start talking more about the nuggets and a little bit more about actions. So I think our homework for this week is to look for
little
those
things.
simple things. The simple things. And understanding that you don't have to be special to be important. I think there's a quote behind you that says you don't have to be everyone's world or whatever.
Hold on. Let me see. I don't know. I covered up with your picture. Or no, with the
That's
picture of
Olivia's
your
picture.
daughter. To some, you'll be too much. To others, you won't be enough. Those are not your people.
There you go. Close enough.
There's a couple more. I'll share the next one with you next week.
All right. I love the headphones. I think this worked out great. Can't wait to hear the audio.
Yay.
Feedback. Again, I'll beg you guys for emails this week. If you guys have something to let us know, we can take it.
We sure can.
gastergirls@gmail.com.
We'll take it. I'm not saying we're going to do anything with it, but we'll take it.
Yeah, we'll listen. We'll listen. All right, let's get off of here. I love
All right,
you.
I got to go pick up my groceries. I love you.
Take care of yourself this week. We'll talk next week. And John Withrow, we love you too.
Fuck. Jesus Christ. Bye.